Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing a video that has been so highly requested recently. If you've followed me for a while, then you will know that I'm into spirituality, crystals, spirit guides, working with tarot and pendulums and all sorts of different aspects. Just a bunch of different stuff that falls under working with the universe and working with energy basically. Now back in 2019 I did a crystal collection video. I also did a video I think titled something like My Spiritual Journey, and since I got into it again recently, a lot of people have been asking me to do an updated version of that. So that is pretty much what this video is. Before I get started on today's video, I want to take a second to promote a little brand that really fits in with this video and that I know a lot of you guys are likely to be interested in. So today's video is very kindly sponsored by Angel of Hearts, which is run by a lovely girl who has a store over on Etsy where she sells crystals and incense, crystal infused water bottles. I think she's about to start selling singing bowls as well. Just a bunch of different cool stuff. She's an ethically sourced brand, and I just think it's so lovely to support smaller businesses like hers, especially when it's so clear that she's so passionate about what she's selling and promoting. She also has the loveliest setup on her page where part of the money from your purchase goes towards a charity each month, and she picks one chosen charity and donates some of her profits to them. So overall, just a wonderful brand and a wonderful person behind it. I can say in absolute confidence that she is my favourite person to buy crystals from because she has a great selection. I know they're real. Probably my favourite crystal I own actually came from Angel of Hearts, which was the first purchase I made from her, and it definitely won't be the last. And that was just this little blue apatite point, which I'm actually wearing today. So she was so lovely and sent me over one of her little rough crystal sets, which I filmed myself unpackaging when I got it, so I'll insert that here. I've had these crystals for a few weeks now, and I've been using them so much. They are easily some of my favourite crystals I own. In fact, most of my favourites are now in this set. It had some smoky quartz, aquamarine, this beautiful clear quartz point. I'm pretty sure this one's called Peacock Aura, which I'd never usually pick out for myself, but I love this. Some rose quartz, a small amethyst cluster, and some labradorite, which you can't really see the shine in this lighting, but it is beautiful. I was so excited when she offered to send me this over, because for me personally, I much prefer raw crystals to tumbled or polished stones. So once again, thank you so much to Angel of Hearts for sending me over this crystal set, and for letting me promote your brand in my video. I'll link down below her Instagram page and her Etsy. She ships worldwide, so wherever you are, you can buy from her. And she also has a TikTok account as well, which I love following. So if you're over on there, also check that out. And yeah, let's get into the video. So I began my spiritual journey back in 2019. I so wish I could remember what it was that kicked it off, but I have no recollection of where I saw it first or what started off the interest in it for me. What I do remember is how I started out learning about it and where that part of my journey first started off. So I remember I bought some crystals offline after developing an interest in them. I already had a couple of crystals that I'd had from like my childhood. They were, I think, the crystals that I started off using first of all. I remember a couple of my friends at the time were also into spirituality. One of my friends was super into crystals and meditation, and my other friend was learning Wiccan, I think. Now at the time I had no interest in that side of stuff. I didn't want to learn witchcraft. It completely freaked me out working with spirits or any kind of spirit guides or higher beings, so I just completely skipped over that part of it and went into the stuff that I at the time felt most safe with, which was crystals and meditation. So yeah, I bought some crystals. One of my friends taught me how to cleanse them with incense, I think. I also bought some crystal jewellery. Oh, and that was another thing. I got super into chakras at first as well. I remember I used to wear this chakra necklace and this chakra ring, and I just learnt about all the different energy realms and how to work with them. I actually think that was a pretty good starting point for me to learn about those things. And obviously chakras and crystals go hand in hand because there's certain crystals for certain chakras and you can work with them. So that was my starting point. Now, not long after this, I threw myself completely in the deep end, and in the complete wrong way. I did barely any research, and I bought myself a pendulum. Now, anyone who works with pendulums knows that when you get a new one, you should cleanse it, charge it, and also build up a bit of a bond with it. I did not do any of that. I just ordered a pendulum off of eBay, and as soon as I got it in the post, I got it out and just started asking it crazy questions about super futuristic stuff. I remember I was on the phone to my best friend, and we were literally just going crazy with all these different questions. For anyone who doesn't know what a pendulum is, by the way, most of them nowadays are made out of crystals. They have a little point at the bottom, and then they're just hanging on a chain. This one also has a little crystal at the top. Pretty much you just hold it, you ask what your yes movement is, what your no movement is, and then you can use the pendulum to ask questions and connect with your spirit guides or your higher self. So say I ask the pendulum what my yes movement is and it goes up and down, and then I ask what my no movement is and it goes in a circle, I can then ask yes no questions and get an answer from it. Now, I should have used my common sense back then, and I'm surprised I didn't with how scared I was around spirit guides and talking to spirits in general. So I just went crazy asking all of these questions, not thinking about what was moving the pendulum or how it actually worked. And I think maybe later that evening I started actually researching it, so obviously did it completely back to front. And it was then that I started reading up on all the horror stories around pendulums and all the ways it can go wrong if you don't use it correctly. And basically everything it said not to do is exactly what I'd done. I hadn't protected myself, I hadn't cleansed it, I'd asked a bunch of out there questions. And I remember as well, a few days after this, because I kept scaring myself and then I'd get confident with it again and then I'd scare myself again, and it was just this on and off pattern constantly. But I remember it even got to a point where I tried to speak to a spirit through it on purpose, sat in my garden with one of my friends, and again, didn't use any protection or anything. Obviously, there is a danger in using a pendulum if you're not protecting yourself or you're not cleansing it. And also, especially if you're a beginner, because you can't really tell apart whether you're letting in the right things at that point. So anyway, I completely scared myself with it. Ended up burying it in my garden. I think I then dug it up a few weeks later. It was just a real love-hate relationship at first, and I definitely jumped into it too soon. Did not feel confident using it. Anyway, I carried on buying a bunch of crystals, started doing crystal grids, which are basically a form of manifestation and a way of using crystal energy. And I was also doing full moon rituals at that point as well, which was beginner friendly to be fair, so that was fine for me to be doing that. Anyway, after a while, I lost motivation for it. It was never that it stopped working for me, and it was never that I stopped enjoying it. It was just, I threw myself in the deep end so much with it. I made it such a everyday constant thing that I did, to the point that it just was if I didn't do it one day, then it felt wrong, and I just lost motivation and gave up with it altogether. I still kept crystals out. I still often kept crystals next to my bed when I slept, and the box that had all of my crystals in was still within reach if I ever wanted to use them. Now, around the end of last year, I began to rediscover my love for it. Oh, that's something I missed. I got tarot cards as well back in 2019, which I connected with and used quite a lot, and got pretty confident with. Again, was still nervous, definitely jumped into it sooner than I should have. I feel like there's an important point that I forgot to make in this video, which is that everyone's ready for different things at different times. So as much as I believe that there are some things that are a lot more beginner friendly than others, with a lot of this stuff, it's just wait until you feel ready and you feel drawn to it. One person might get tarot cards weeks into starting, and someone else might wait months or even years. Typically the rule that I play by is if I feel comfortable with it and I feel confident and I've researched it enough, then it's an okay time for me to delve into it. If it's something I'm still not sure about or I'm not 100% confident on it, then I'll wait until I am, because a lot of being protected with this stuff is feeling protected in yourself and feeling confident about it. You have to feel ready to take the step, and if you don't yet, then that's fine. End of last year, I begin feeling drawn to crystals again. I begin kind of wanting to tarot read again, burning incense, all of the little beginner things. And I was in a very bad place at the end of last year, which I became dedicated to fixing beginning of this year. That was the real turning point of when I started incorporating crystals into my life again, and just spirituality in general, because so many people that you speak to will say that they discovered it in a time where they were struggling and it helped them get out of that. I can confidently say that they have been helping me to get out of the place I was in, and that overall just how I feel in general, using crystals, focusing spirituality into parts of my life, meditation, manifestation. That's another thing to mention, is that manifestation was another thing that kind of got me back into it again. Around the end of last year, I properly discovered that side of stuff, and I think began to use the 369 technique in the little book I use for manifesting. Nowadays I find it much more effective, and I actually prefer to just kind of mentally manifest stuff and use affirmations and put it out into the universe than to write it down and use that kind of technique. But I think it's important to note that that is one of the things that got me back into it and that kind of re-sparked the interest, because I just had this urge to start manifesting. And just overall connecting with the universe, I find such a peace and comfort in. So through the period of me getting that motivation back and beginning my recovery process again, basically just picking myself up from the mess I was in at the end of last year, spirituality became incorporated into that again. So I started using crystal energy again, carrying them around with me, going to sleep holding them, occasionally meditating, starting to use my pendulum again and becoming a lot more comfortable with talking to spirit guides. I just used my pendulum on the odd occasion if I wanted some advice or some guidance. I would just literally ask it a couple of questions and then sometimes not touch it again for a couple of weeks. I then began moon journaling, which I'd never done before, and I started doing full moon rituals again. I also started making moon water, which was a new thing for me. Pretty much, if you don't know, it is just filling up some little jars or cups with water and then charging them in the light of the full moon, and then using the water to spray around your room, water the plants, cleanse your crystals, drink, anything you want to use it for basically. So yeah, slowly this became a bigger thing in my life again, and I started doing full moon rituals every time it was full moon, doing a lot more research, journaling a lot more. My moon journal just turned into a general book of shadows and journal for anything I wanted to put in there, obviously spirituality related. This is my moon journal, by the way. So pretty much I started this in December 2020 and I just carried on journaling all the different full moons and then also new moons. I then started adding stuff in about my spirit guides and my astrological signs. So yeah, I've just been keeping this up for a while now, and I journal pretty much every week and just make any notes that I want to in there. I started tarot reading again regularly. I also started tarot reading for friends and then people on Instagram live streams. I've just looked at the time and it is 22:22. That was another thing for me. Angel numbers started appearing everywhere, and that was a sign that I think my spirit guides were trying to call me to get back into spirituality and to rediscover it. So that was pretty cool. I still see them literally every single day. Again, if anyone is unaware what an angel number is, it is just reoccurring numbers, so 222, 111, 1111. Basically any reoccurring numbers usually have a meaning. So yeah, carried on tarot reading, started reading for other people. That was the real point that I just started connecting with it all again. I then recently made the jump to start speaking to my spirit guides using a pendulum and a word board, which just looks like this. I was taught how to set up a protection spell by someone who's advanced in witchcraft. So I set one up using a yellow candle with white ribbon and some white cloth. And I used this word board to communicate with my spirit guides. I just laid this down on my table and then held a pendulum above it. And obviously it gives your spirit guides a way of spelling out words and actually communicating with you properly, which is a little bit more advanced than just the yes/no answers from pendulums. I often think about how much my past self would have just absolutely flipped at the thought of doing that, but I'm at a point where I just feel so comfortable and confident doing it. And I think I've done it 4 times now and it's gone really well. And I learned the names of my spirit guides. It's the same 2 that return every time I open the channel. And yeah, they've just helped to guide me along, and that way I can actually ask them any question and actually get full word answers. I think my biggest update recently is that I set up my altar. I just wanted a specific place that I could sit down and have all of my stuff laid out nicely, and that I could just sit and work through journaling or tarot readings or spirit guide communication, if I want to cleanse my crystals, literally anything. I just wanted like a certain spot in my room that was dedicated to that. And my altar definitely does that for me. So I'll insert some clips of how it looks. It's just a little round table. I've got some candles on there, some moon water in a spray bottle, tarot cards, crystals, my manifestation book and moon journal, singing bowl, pendulum, and a little plant on there as well, just because I personally really like to connect with nature, and I think at some point soon I might like to start working with jar spells or nature and herbs. I'm just waiting for the right time where it feels like a good opportunity to get into that. But yeah, I think pretty much that is the update on my spiritual journey. This time round, I made sure that I didn't obsess over it so much to the point that I just fixated on it and then got tired. Some days all I do is just carry some crystals around or do a little bit of journaling. And then other days I will sit and tarot read for myself and other people and talk to my spirit guides and get some questions answered and write it all down and make it like a much more spiritually surrounded day. The days I focus the most on it is usually full moons or new moons now, but I just incorporate it into my life in a way that works for me. I often wear crystals, as you can see, and honestly, jumping into it just feels like a whole other world to discover. And I love that it's becoming such a normal thing that so many people practice and enjoy, because it also means there's so many more people that I can talk to about it and that I can learn with. So yeah, pretty much I think that is everything there is to mention. I hope I haven't forgotten anything, but I feel like there was quite a lot to say and update you on. Hopefully I'll practice more and learn more about this topic, and feel free to correct me if I said anything wrong in this video. Also let me know any tips down below or any of your spiritual journeys if you want to share them. I think we should open some conversation about spirituality and witchcraft in the comments. And yeah, once again, massive thank you to Angel of Hearts for sponsoring today's video and letting me promote them. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all next time. Mwah. Goodbye.